Good morning, Steve Jolly with Benchmark Realty, and welcome to the Music City Show. We are so glad to have you this morning, and every Thursday morning around 8:30 for the Music City Show. Before we dive in today, I want to share with you something special. It's going to happen next week. We're going to have a special Thanksgiving edition of the Music City Show, and in that we're going to be playing. It's going to be a game show edition. There's going to be a chance to win valuable prizes. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be so much fun. We need some contestants to play that game. So if that sounds like you, leave your name in the comments below. I'll reach out to you, and stick around to the end of the show for more information about that. All right, so let's dive in. So what we're going to be talking about today is how school ratings affect your home value. So one of the things I discovered, there's this myth out there, since we're talking about myths lately. This is a part of that series on myths, that school choice is not important to homeowners unless you have kids. And knowing what I know, seems crazy to me. And 26% of buyers out there don't even consider schools when they're buying a home. And I was floored when I heard that, because I remember what an experience my kids had at the schools that they were growing up. It made such a huge difference in their lives attending these schools. And also the schools that my children attended, also because they were improving, they also helped improve the value of my home. So not only does your children get value from attending schools, good schools, but also your home will appreciate because of that. But you're going to find some things out interesting that you may not have realized, because my kids didn't attend the highest rated schools in Nashville. We'll dive into that in a minute. But I want to share with you 4 reasons or 4 ways you can have the same experience as I did, as my kids did, with having an awesome experience and getting good home appreciation. So let's look at those 4 ways. So the first one I want to share with you is look past the scores. So one of the popular things people do now is they go to a site like greatschools.com and they look up the score of the school, and they see the score, and that's what they base their decision on and move on. I'm here to tell you that is a bad thing to do. When we first moved to Nashville about 19 years ago, there was no such thing as great schools. We didn't have that. So we had to rely on talking to parents, going and visiting schools, talking to teachers, talking to administrators, looking at standardized test scores. We had to rely on those type of things to make our decision. And we did. We picked our schools based on those things. Later on, when the scores came out, we found out we were surprised to see how low our schools had scored. The elementary school where my kids attended, if you knew what it was, you'd be surprised. They got a score of a 6 out of 10. The middle school my kids attended got a score out of 5 out of 10. And the high school my kids attended got a score out of 4 out of 10. And you think, how can anything good come out of schools? I'm going to tell you, that score so low. I'm going to tell you that's completely wrong. Those scores are either biased or they're bad information or whatever. And I'll give you a couple examples. My son, he graduated a couple years ago from the high school. Well, it's been like 5 years ago. He had his choice anywhere he wanted to go to college, pretty much. He chose to go to Vandy, and he graduated in biomedical engineering and has an amazing job right now. That's one example. Second example I have is my daughter. She is going to graduate early from Lipscomb next month, from Lipscomb University, with nearly a 4.0 grade point average in marketing, which is amazing. You think, how can kids do so well in college that come out of schools that are graded so poorly? Well, you have to look beyond the score. You have to look past the score. And I've even asked my kids today, and during that time, would you have traded your school experience for anything in the world? They said no. They even had the opportunity while they were in school to go to different magnet schools around Nashville. They both got into different magnet schools, and they both turned that opportunity down. So look past the score is the first thing. Second thing I want to share with you, people think they can't afford to live in a good school district. So I looked up the best school in Middle Tennessee, and that happens to be Merrill Hyde Magnet School in Sumner County. It's rated as the number one high school in the nation, and the number one high school in Tennessee, the number three high school in the nation. And I also looked at housing in that same district, because people in that district can apply to attend Merrill Hyde Magnet School. There are 107 current listings today on the market that are less than 300,000. While 300,000 might not be affordable to everybody, it's affordable to a lot of people. It's definitely well below our average for Middle Tennessee, which is about $350,000 for a house. And that's about the same as the national average. So you can find affordable housing in good school districts. Don't forget that. Number three, as districts improve, so do their housing and prices. So I looked for some studies across the nation. I found a big study, and they discovered that every 5% increase in standardized test scores results in a 2.5% increase in housing prices in those areas. Now that's across the board, that's average. So I thought, what about a hot area, a hot city, another city like Nashville? So I found a study that they did in Durham, North Carolina, and the school districts there. And the best performing school districts achieved a 10% increase in standardized testing, which resulted in an 11% increase in housing prices. So school districts improve. As they improve, so do the housing prices. So that is a great reason, even if you don't have kids, if you never plan to have kids, it's a good reason to buy into a good district. It's a good reason to get involved with your schools and help improve. Not only does that help improve your community when you help these kids out, but you're also helping yourself by improving your housing prices. Let's look at reason number 4. Good schools get more attention from buyers. Now, this is good and this is bad, and we'll talk about the good first. So the good thing is, in good school districts, houses sell 8 days faster, and they also get 26% more attention from buyers. Now that's a great thing, but it can also be used in a bad way, and that's what I want to share with you too. So we have to be really good stewards of this information and this data, and make sure that a fair accounting of the schools in the area is out there, because the opposite can happen. Not only get good schools get more attention, but areas that have schools that are struggling get less attention, and they also their prices aren't going to increase as much. So we can have the negative effect by putting bad information out there. So that's why it's so important to go beyond the score, to talk to teachers, to talk to parents, to talk to administrators, to visit the schools yourself and talk to students and see what's happening out there. All right, so that's it for today's story. Let's get into the market update for the week. Sales are still on the increase. For the long term, we're looking at a 9.4% higher than we were last year. We had almost 600 sales, 546 sales. It's down from where it has been the last few weeks. In fact, we haven't had a month this low since back in May. But this is what happens this time of year. And as we approach the holidays, it'll even get worse. The good news is there's such a demand out there. I don't think it's going to wait till springtime before the market starts back up. I think if it warms up in January, we have some sunny days in January, the market will start again. Probably by mid-January, the market will be back to rolling again. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about buying or selling a home. You have a small window here where there's not a lot of competition. Use that to your advantage. Over the short run, though, as we're talking about seasonality, sales are finally starting to decrease a little bit, and we'll see that more over the next few weeks. New listings up 5.5% over last year. That's good news. Still don't have enough on the market, although we had nearly 900 new listings hit the market last week. So that is good news. But just as everything else is seasonal, so do new listings. So as the holidays come, people don't want to be showing their home while they're having Thanksgiving and Christmas parties and the busyness. So we'll see new listings decline over the next few weeks, and they'll pick back up next year. Showings overall heading upward. We're up almost 10% over last year. Almost 9,000 showings out there on the market. That's good news for this time of year. But over the short term, another slight decline in that, and we'll see that continue over the next few weeks. And one more chart to look at, under contract. Wow, this is really proof of the demand that's out there, up 28.3% over last year. We had 871 pending sales, so almost every home that goes into the market is going pending. It's almost a 1-to-1 ratio. So that's why we need more new listings out there. Keep that in mind. Also, same story we're hearing from these other things seasonally. The last 4 weeks, we're seeing a downward trend on under contract, and that'll continue as we go on. The last 4 weeks, our median sales price is right around $350,000. It's been holding steady, close to that for the last few weeks, and total days on the market's also been holding steady right around 79, 80 days on the market. And here we measure total days on market. That's from the day that you list the property to the day that you close the property. Market looks good, market looks strong. We just need to continue moving forward. If you like data, if you want to see what's happening in your neighborhood, you can do that with my data dashboard. All you have to do is go to musiccityshow.com and you can get all of your answers there. And lastly, I want to talk about next week because I'm so excited about this. We're going to be debuting our first game show. We're going to call it The Price is Wrong. I'll kind of leave out what we're going to do to make it a little bit of a surprise for next week. But it's going to be fun, and we're going to have some amazing prizes. And we are looking for it. We are looking for some contestants for next week. So if you want to play along with a chance to win some prizes, all you have to do is leave your name below. I'll reach out to each one of you, and we'll choose our contestants for next week. And if you don't get chosen for next week, never fear, we'll be doing the same thing for Christmas and New Year's. So, this interesting to you? Leave your name below in the comments. If you have a question about real estate, give me a call, 615-257-9996. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are so glad to have you. Peace and love, y'all.